Alright YouTube, what is going on? It's ConflctNerd Callum here today, bringing you another episode of my Another Brick in the Mall series. Today in episode number 6, we're going to go ahead and continue to build our Grand Mall, and as you can see, I made quite a few changes, really, is what I've done. And the reason for this is because I didn't want to do it all on camera. There was a lot of nitty gritty stuff which just really isn't enjoyable, so I decided to go ahead and just get rid of that. So as you can see here, first of all, we've extended the car parking quite a bit. I wasn't really happy. This road was too close to this road over here, so I went ahead and moved that back probably about 3 or 4 road tiles, and as you can see now, we've got a lot more parking spaces in here, which is good. And I've gone ahead and filled in a lot more of this mall. Now you might be like, this is a very strange shape. What have you done, Callum? Well, that's a very good question. Do let me explain though. So one of the problems that I could see myself having in the future was that we're going to have some shops in the central area here. However, there wasn't going to be good storage access, and I was a little bit tired of just this square, so I thought let's go ahead and do some indents. I might actually improve those indents that little bit more, just because I'm not too happy with how this cuts and lays over here. I'm not very happy, but we've got more loading zones here, which is good, and that means that we'll get easier access to the centre of this mall going forward. So with that done, let's go ahead and start today's building. So to start with, we're going to go ahead and add in, basically, actually, let's go ahead, before we do that, let's jump into research. So we've unlocked everything now, which is good, bar the Road Network 3 extension, but I'm in no real need for that. Speaking of needs though, we need to go ahead and deal with that issue, and as you can see here, in general we're actually doing quite well all in all. However, there are some issues that we need to go ahead and deal with, and I want to go ahead and build some specific kinds of shops going forward. We do not have a bowling area, and we also do not have a movie theatre either. That's something which we're not going to get onto this episode. We're going to go ahead and do it in episodes 7 and 8 going forward. I do want to go ahead though and, as I said, add in specific stores in this episode. So what specific stores are we going to do? Well, we're actually going to go ahead and start off by building toilets, because that is something which I want to go ahead and do. So let me go ahead and rotate this here. Let's go ahead, and these are going to be mixed toilets actually. I'm not really that bothered, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and build in a shit ton of toilets along there. This part of it's actually going to be symmetrical. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is add in some toilet sinks along the bottom here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, as long as there's enough toilets for everyone in this mall, which there should be with these 2 restrooms, then we'll be fine. Then I also want to go ahead, and we also have, I never realised this, but we have paper dispensers as well, which is kind of cool. I'm not 100% sure if these are just for the bathrooms or not, but I'm going to go ahead and implement them anyway. That's just a little bit of extra detail. Not gone ahead and put in urinals just because I don't really feel there is much need. I don't think that I really want to make, I just want to have sort of like gender neutral toilets anyway, just allow for either gender to go ahead and to go into toilets, which is something which is not very common right now, but I think going forward it will become a much more common thing. So with that done, let's actually go ahead and define these rooms, and I'll also notify you of some more changes that I've made. So that's a restroom there, as you can see, and that is not what I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and remove that there. So that is restroom number 12, and then that is restroom at number 13, so that works out wonderfully. The next thing I need to notify you of is basically just adding in more builders and more staff into our maintenance centre. It wasn't that a large change, but it was definitely a required, that is for sure. As we can see here as well, I also added in 1 or 2, you probably can't see it to be fair, but I added in 1 or 2 more stock clerks into here, and I think I need to add in even more. It's just the demand. As we can see, there's an empty shelf there, empty fridges, some nice pizza boxes in there actually, but it is a little bit of a shame that there isn't enough pizzas in there. They are getting filled up again, which is good enough, but I probably need to add in even more staff into there as well, and I probably want to go ahead and fill out the shop shortly too. So what I'm going to do now though is I'm going to go ahead and build our next shop, and that is going to be a clothing shop, because that is something which I think we've not really focused on, and is something that I would like to deal with. So first of all, let me go ahead and get checkout counters. Now there's not going to be a lot of checkout counters for this shop at all. We're going to have 1, actually, can we go, we'll leave that as it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, Possibly 5, though. Is there really any need for 5? I don't really think there is, but we'll go ahead and go with it. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is have... let's just go ahead and do what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and add in some clothing racks over here to the left. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have the large shop with basically loads of clothing racks. Then along with that, simultaneously, I want to have in some... We're going to have some normal shelves in as well, because you can actually have clothes on those also. So this is the clothing shop here right now. As you can see, it's a little bit, you might be like, oh, that layout is absolutely awful. And it's a little bit, it's different. It's not awful, but it's different. You also need to remember as well, there's not a lot of clothing that is in this game right now. And you also need to remember that a lot of my shops already have clothing. For example, this shop here, it has some shoes. Not many, but it has some shoes. Then coming over to here, we do also have some clothing in here as well. Again, there's not a lot, but there is some over there as well. This eventually, I've decided what this is going to turn into. This is actually going to stay in the game, which is good news. However, what it's going to turn into is it's going to turn into the needs store, the in-demand store. So it's not going to be categorized, but what it's going to be is when there's an extremely high need, there is going to be just lots and lots of that in the shop. That's really what the shop is going to be, which I'm looking forward to that later down the line. So the next thing I need to go ahead and do is start to assign some clothes onto this, but before I do that, we need to go ahead and create this stored area. So this store here is store 14, or I believe all in all, just out of the individual stores, this is store number 4. So we've got our original store, we've got our 2 other stores in the mall, and then we've got this store here. Along with that, we need to go ahead and add in a storage area, which this is a very large storage area for this small store, but we have the room right now, and we can always go ahead and upgrade the maintenance center if we need to. So with that done, let's go ahead and jump into manage. Let's store 14, zone, assign storage, and that will be storage 15. So now that that is done, we are going to go ahead and start to put stuff on the shelves. As you can see right now, everything is extremely busy, and I definitely need to go ahead and hire in more janitors. So before we start doing anything else, I think I'll go ahead and do that. So let's jump into our maintenance center 9, staff and janitors. I'm just going to hire a few more of these. So let's go ahead and turn my attention now to the clothing in our clothing shop. So on the racks here, you can see that there is 6 different kinds of clothing, not a lot. And then on the shelf, as you can see here, there is only, it looks like, 4 different types. So I'm going to go ahead and very quickly fill up the shop. Right, so that is me gone ahead and put in lots of everything into the shop. So we've got 2 of every item that can go on the shelf. We've got 3 of every item that can go on the racks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the rest of it for the time being and just see what the demand is and go ahead and fill up the rest of it. Like so. So with that done, now this shop actually, the mall isn't all going to be 24/7. There's definitely no need for a 24-hour clothing shop. There is going to be, though, the opening hours are going to operate from, I think it's going to be from 7 till 11. That is how the shop is going to operate. So it's going to have 2 shifts. It's going to have a slightly altered morning and a slightly altered evening shift. Nothing too drastic. So let me go ahead and get started here. So first of all, let's jump in here and let's go down to store 14, which is our new clothing store, and let's go ahead and hire some staff. And again, we're not really going to have a lot of staff in this shop either, that's for sure, because there's really not that much need. So we're going to have probably only 3 cashiers on at once, and then we're only going to have 1 stock clerk on at once, so it's really not a lot at all. There's really no needs, that's the thing with this kind of shop. So there we go, that is me already actually sorted out my staff time. So it's a 7 to 11 shop. This is going to be, if it's not open 24/7, then I'm going to have shops open from 7 to 11. I realise I maybe should have originally started off my shift patterns at 7 till 3, then 3 till 11, then throughout the night, but for the time being I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that shop, all it needs now is its modified opening hours. So let's go ahead and start you at 7 and keep you open till 11 o'clock at night. So there we go. So if we go ahead and speed this up, then the shop should slowly but surely, I mean the staff are not going to turn up for a while yet actually. Some of them are arriving in now, which is good, and we should see some of the shelves now it's starting to get filled up. So I really don't know the popularity of this store. That's the thing which I'm a little bit concerned about. The final thing I do need to do though is go ahead and add in some floor tiles to the shop. So there's going to be a small area up the back here. Then on top of that we're going to have, I mean all the rest of this is really checkouts, and then this is going to be the rest of the shop here. So let's just go ahead and fill in some more of these floor tiles, and then let's go ahead and grab our checkout area. And our checkout area it's very strangely shaped in this shop, I will admit, but that's how it looks. It's a bit of a split shop and I'm not overly happy with it, but it's just the way the maintenance centre is, and it will do for the time being, that's for sure. So we are making a few sales, not a lot of sales, and there's never ever going to be need for any more than 3 cashiers, I don't think. Possibility of going up to 5, and if we had to, we can go ahead and add in an extra checkout or 2, but I mean, there's just really no need at all, that is for sure. So with that done, we're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to pay a little bit more attention to the mall. So one thing that I'm noticing is that I'm being very inconsistent with my doors, and I need to go ahead and deal with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, it's just the doors in this general corridor here. That's really what I need to go ahead and fix. Having doors consistently and doors opposite each other is going to make the world of difference going forward, that is for sure. So let me go ahead and make that change. I mean, it's not a drastic change I require to make, but if I go ahead and have something which makes sense, then it will make my life easier going forward, that's for sure. So the 2 things I want to do is go ahead and remove objects. We're going to remove you there, remove you there. Then we're going to go ahead and wait for these 2 to get removed, and then we're going to go ahead and build walls in the way. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and get some double doors, which are basically opposite these double doors here. So have a double door there, and then have another double door there, and that works out nicely. So that's all opposites going down that corridor and keeping that, in general anyway, sort of symmetrical. So with that done, that's a good start to this episode. That's another shop built. The next shop we're going to build though is our appliances shop, and I'm gonna, before I do that, actually make some modifications to the Grand Mall itself. So, can you notice the modification that I've made? Very small. I was just going ahead and talking about the overlapping here. As we can see, I've now got rid of it. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add in we have a choice. I'm going to do 2 shops symmetrical to each other. So, we're going to go ahead and have, I'm just trying to think what the best way to do this is actually. I want to go ahead and keep the indents. We're going to go ahead and have a very small storage areas. Have you in by 5 there, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then have you, so a 5 by 4. Is that too small storage? Probably is too small storage actually. So you're all in all, you're going to be 10 in, and then you're going to be 4 down, so that works out fine. I'm just wanting to try and keep this symmetrical as much as I can for the time being. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and then you're going to be 10 in like that, and then down like that. So these are going to be our storage rooms, and then we're going to have an electronic shop, and we're also going to have an appliances shop. Appliances we do not have at all yet, and electronics is something which we've been meaning to go ahead and implement for a while. And at the bottom it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to really be just a fast food area. And, well, I don't know, it's going to be interesting actually. We're going to make this central square here. The reason it's so open is because it's going to eventually be fast food, but I just don't know how I'm going to go ahead and do it yet. Alright, so let me go ahead and start to implement these shops and try and do it symmetrically. So let's go ahead and add in a double door there, double door at the corner there, and a double door there, and then a double door there. We're then going to have a staff door just out here very close to the loading area, and then let's go ahead and do the same at this side. So double there, double there, double there, and a double there. As we can now see as well, people are starting to use the general whole mall, which I'm really liking to see. So now with that done, let's go ahead and actually decide what we're going to go ahead and actually put into our shops. So we're going to start off here with, we're going to need checkouts. That's probably the most important thing. And every shop I sort of just want to have as a standard 4 checkouts. So quite a lot of checkouts, but it's something that we'll probably not use 4 to start with, but it's something good to have as a principle going forward. So we've got 4 on that one there, and then let's go ahead and add in 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So having 4 checkouts actually takes up quite a bit of the shop, and it's just the way this is laid out, but I mean, it'll work out in the end. So the next thing I need to go ahead and do is actually add in pallets for this shop here, and this is basically just going to have your fridges, your washing machines, that sort of stuff. I can't actually really remember what goes on these, to be honest, but we'll find out extremely shortly. So it's really not a lot, and again, this is only going to be a 7 till 11 store. Then we can also have an extra row up the top here too. That's how this is going to work. And then, yeah, I mean, that's fine. I could Oh, this is interesting actually. I've not done my numbers the best here. I could have maximised my room. I could have another row at the top, but I don't think there's really much need, so I think we'll be fine. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same here, but with tables in this shop. Alright, so there we go, there we have it in both of them. So we've got our electronic shop, which will be to the left, and we'll have our household units, which is going to be to the right. So let me go ahead and first of all create their small, I mean they're going to be very small storage rooms, but they'll get the job done. Then let's go ahead and define these stores, and then let's go ahead and define these stores a storage area. This is something which I've very much got used to now, and is something which is always going to have to be done going forward. So let's jump into manage, let's jump into store 18, and you're going to be assigned that storage area, and then store 19, you're going to be assigned this storage area here. So that is those two now set up. Now I need to go ahead and add an object, and then we'll be good to go. So on the pallets, it's going to be, we're going to have a lot of things here actually. We're going to have a lot of washing machines, then we're going to have a lot of dishwashers, drying machines and fridges, and that will do us for the time being. So there we go, so that is the appliance store setup. So we've got 10 of everything bar fridges, which we've got 7. I'm going to go ahead and get the shop open first, then we'll deal with our electronic shop. Then after that, I need to go ahead and actually work on some food court in this area as well, because that is something which is definitely needed. We have 2 24-hour shops in here, and then we also have what are going to be our 7-Eleven shops as well. So we're starting off here with store 19, let's go ahead and hire staff, and again this is going to be very similar to what we are rocking with our clothing shop. It is only going to have 3 staff on at once. Right, so there we go, so that is this shop ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and modify its opening hours, and that is now from 7 to 11. I really don't know how profitable that is actually going to be, but we'll see how that does. And that is slowly but surely going to start to get stocked up. So right now I've got 2 stock clerks in, but that will change. I'll have one of them coming in at 7 AM in the morning, and I'll have the other one coming in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we've also got our 3 cashiers as well. Final thing I need to go ahead and do though is do some more tiling, because that is something which I want to keep consistent. Though I'm starting to think I might change it actually in shops like this. I might just have like all, for example, the one kind of floor, because these are not, I mean they're really not. I mean, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't work having this pattern because of just the layouts of the shop. It really doesn't work out that way at all. So I think it would be better to go ahead and have a different layout for these kind of stores, and also for the clothing shop as well, just because it's different. It's, I mean, that is just the way it is. That's really what I'm trying to say. That just looks ugly. That's really the bottom line. So let me go ahead and make this modification here, and as you can see I think it already looks better. It also means as well that shops with green floors I can identify as a special kind of shop. So with that done now, that is into operation, and as we can see it's doing much better than it once was, that's for sure. Let me turn my attention over here to our electronic store. So electronic appliances, we have a lot more. Oh, we also have jewellery. Shit, now that's part of clothing, so that's how it's gonna have to go into the clothing store. So what, and the good thing is I've not actually gone ahead and broke my rules. I think we also maybe need, let's go back to the clothing store a second, because we definitely need to go ahead and work on things here, because things are not all as dandy as would think. So store 14, first of all I think I need to go ahead and add in an extra stock clerk. So you see my really good stock clerk, so you'll go ahead and be assigned on at, we're actually going to break my rules again, and I'm going to have you right at the middle of the day. Then what I'm going to do is build, we're going to remove objects, we're going to remove you 3 so we can get some bling bling in here. Then I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out with different items. So dresses, it's just really the items which we have less of, and then we'll go ahead and put in some jackets down the bottom there as well. So let's go ahead and jump into build, let's grab objects, and let's grab tables, and let's put 1, 2, 3 tables along there. Then let's go ahead and put some jewellery on here as well. So that works out wonderful. That's in the clothing store, and that's definitely the clothing store done now. I'm not really probably going to come back and touch this anytime soon, that is for sure. I'm really happy with how that is looking, and I'm really happy with the progress of the Grand Mall here. This shop is also into operation, really not that busy at all, and I kind of don't expect it to be. I'm just thinking we maybe want to cut down on cashiers, to be honest. I'm happy with one stock clerk constantly in here. It picks up, that's for sure, but it's not, I don't think it's justified 3. It could do with 2 cashiers on at all times, but not 3. So that is something which I might change again. Go ahead and please tell me. As you can see, there's adequate work here for 1 stock clerk, but there's no need for 2 stock clerks, that's for sure. And as you can see, we also don't have a lot of room for deliveries, so deliveries are going to have to be quite consistent, but as you can see, you've got the parking space for that, so that is no problem at all. So back to this place here. So as you can see, we've got, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different items that are going to go in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of every single item in this store. So that's me gone ahead and filled in all these shelves. I managed to get 3 of everything and we still have 1 left over, so I'll go ahead and leave it for the time being and just play off of the needs later along the line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the reverse, and what I probably should do with the appliances store, and that is to go ahead and basically just start off with 2 cashiers and then go from there. So let me first of all go ahead and select the right store number 18, and it's probably more important actually that we get stock clerks in, because you guys need to start to stock the shelves pretty much pronto, and again we're just going to have 1 on consistently. That's probably the best way to do it, like that, and you will operate, and that's fine, no problem. So let me go ahead and already justify the opening hours. The reason for this is because the shelves are going to be getting stacked extremely shortly. We're just waiting on deliveries coming in. So let me go ahead and jump in here. Let's go for some cashiers and let's go ahead and get things started. Right, so here we have it. So this shop is now into operation, and as you can see, it's actually doing quite well. So I've only gone with the 2 cashiers in this, and I would say it's probably actually doing overall better than the appliances shop, which is up against over here. Definitely, it's just so little use going through the shop, but I mean, it's there now, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. So this electronic shop, good at starting signs, that's for sure. We just need to hope that continues. So the next thing to address this episode is what's going on down below. So that is us completed all of our research projects. So that is us completed and unlocked everything for the time being, which is great. The next thing we need to go ahead and do though is turn our attention to missed sales opportunities. So fast food restaurant, we missed quite a few, so that's obviously getting busier. Store 7's also still missing some sales opportunities throughout the days, and restrooms, interestingly, because there's no restrooms or restrooms are full. And whereabouts is that? It's just saying in general restrooms, but I don't know whereabouts that is at. Is that in the restaurant? Is that at the first store? Or is that at our Grand Mall? Not really at all sure. I'll have to look into that and maybe just build more restrooms. That's really the bottom line. Anyway, what I need to go ahead and do now is that we're going to, towards the end of this episode, start to work towards... We're not going to get it done at all today, but we're going to start towards building another fast food area in the middle here. So let me go ahead and build some walls. So I want to go ahead and add in reference points 1 there. We're then going to have you there. And then if we drop down to here, we're going to have you there. And we need to have you in line down there. So this is, inside this area anyway, is where all the food is going to be cooked. And then, or maybe not this whole area, but at least part of this area, then we're going to have a lot of benches all around this area. That is how this is going to work. So let me go ahead and first of all enclose this area off. And this is going to be the central sort of food area, which is what I'm wanting to go ahead and build. So let me go ahead, and this is definitely going to be built symmetrical. So let's build objects, and let's go ahead and see what we've got on offer. So first thing is staff doors. That is something which is very important to allow staff into this area. Then the next most important thing is definitely going ahead and adding in some correct tiling, because that is something which I like to very much keep consistent. So with that done, let's go ahead and start to place some objects. So what I need to go ahead and do is have some order counters. Now this isn't actually going to work the way I originally planned it, unfortunately, but we will be able to make this work no problem. So let's have 1, 2, 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom for both sides, which will be easy enough to do. So I think what we're actually going to have to do here is we're going to have to implement 2 kitchens instead of the 1, which is fine by me. So here we have what our 2 fast food areas are going to look like. So they are pretty much symmetrical anyway. They both have 6 order checkouts, then they also have 3 cookers, then they also have 3 soda dispensers and 3 warm food dispensers. So not really at all sure if this is going to work with having the cookers so close, but if I do go ahead and jump up to the restaurant here, we can see that you guys have got plenty of room and you guys are doing fine on food. Like, all the dispensers for food are always full, so we might not actually need 3, we might be able to get away with 2 in these anyway, but I've just gone ahead and added in 3 just for the extra sake of it. It's more the servers which I need to go ahead and worry about, but there's also a small gap as you can see behind the cookers, so I could be okay. So the final modification I've had to make is I've had to go ahead and re-enter this area, and the reason is because I need to go ahead and make sure that we have adequate storage for our fast food, and that's something which I totally forgot about, and it's something which it needs to be right beside the cooking facilities. I could have it, for example, maybe in one of these back alleys or something, but it just needs to be really close, and I think this will work out quite nicely. So with that done though, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to do some pre-building, though we're not going to get it unfortunately opened at this episode. So what I want to do is go ahead and basically place a shit ton of these food court tables. So this is the layout here I've gone for. It basically just means that there shouldn't be any queues going forward. I don't know if I am happy with it, and I'm a little bit curious to see how practical it is going forward. We'll have to just wait though until all this is open, which, as I said, will be in the next episode. So with that said, we're just going to go ahead and see. So again, fast food restaurant, 4 missed opportunities. So in general, I think I just need to go ahead and add in a few more servers in here, which we'll do right now. So fast food's number 6. I can actually remember that one sticks in my head, and I just need to go ahead and add in a few different cashiers. So start you at 6 o'clock. We just need like 2 extra, I think, on every single shift. So start 2 yous at 6 o'clock, and then go ahead and start some more of yous at 2 o'clock in the afternoon as well, like so, and there we go. That should solve the problem. So that brings us up to 9. We've got adequate amount of cooks, and you know, everything is fine, everything works out fine. So, and we've already actually got some of those staff already working in here, which is good. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Happy with progression. I think our utilities shop is doing relatively well, and I can't really fault it too much, to be fair. The one thing I would say is that the electronic shop is doing very well, and it's something that I actually want to wait until the daytime to see how it's properly performing. That's something we need to analyse. I'm quite happy with this layout here, however, tell me if I should go ahead and modify it or make it a little bit more open, because I can definitely tell that I might need to go ahead and get rid of some of these benches, or I might need to go ahead and add in more benches as we go on. Just please go ahead and tell me down in the comment section below. I'm also happy with these shops being 7-11s as well, but if you think I should do anything different, then please go ahead and tell me. The one thing is that we have actually unlocked this, and we're going to go ahead and unlock this road in the next episode. I'll not do it right now because I've not built the road, and we are, for some shops I feel we are prepared. However, for example, with the Grand Food Shop here, I don't think we're very well prepared at all, and I think we will struggle. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this episode, so I hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a like, rate, and subscribe if you are new around here. And that is all, so my name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.